Hey everyone, I guess most of you that were Vainglory subscribers were expecting this video at some point, but if you're a TFT subscriber, let me give you a little bit of background information. I used to do Vainglory content on this YouTube channel. If you don't know what Vainglory is, it was a mobile MOBA that was very, very good, and it's kind of what kickstarted my content creation career and really gave me the drive to continue to search out games to create content for. The Vainglory was produced by a company called Super Evil Megacorp. They essentially, I would say, dropped Vainglory because it just wasn't profitable enough, and they started developing a new title that has been in the works for over a year now, and they just released pre-alpha footage of this title called Catalyst Black. The announcement video, link in the description below if you want to go check it out, but I will include gameplay footage from that video in this video as well. So what we're going to be doing in this video is talking over a few points. We're going to talk over what is Catalyst Black, what is the genre supposed to be, and some of the key mechanics. We're going to talk about the graphical style, because the most criticism that I've seen is, oh wow, this doesn't look anything like Vainglory, and I will go over that and we'll talk about that in detail. And then I'm going to talk about my thoughts and hopes for Catalyst Black in the future. So let's start off with what is Catalyst Black. Well, if you watched the video, you'll kind of get an indication about what the hopes of SEMC are in terms of creating a new type of genre for this game. Catalyst Black is not like an arena shooter. It is more like a large-scale PvP arena. The best way that I can describe it is if you've ever played World of Warcraft and you played in Vanilla or you played WoW Classic, you will know of a PvP battle arena called Alterac Valley. A 40 versus 40 Horde versus Alliance battle arena where your end objective was to kill the opponent's leader, which was an NPC, a computer. But on the way, you had several objectives. So you worked your way from one end of the map to the other, but you had several objectives that you could or could not complete that would make your journey easier or whatever along the way. So there was PvE objectives with PvP battle, and there was one major objective that you had to complete, and the other objectives either made it easier or helped you along the way. So that is the best way I can describe Catalyst Black. You have two teams of, I think they said 10 or 20 of a significant number of people, and they battle it out in a large-scale arena, I'm guessing with one major objective to complete, but there'll be lots of other little PvE objectives on the way. Your character has a loadout. It has abilities, it has passives, you can choose different weapon loadouts, and then you have a transformation, which you can choose. I believe it was one of 3 when I was still working at SEMC, but I'm not sure how many transformations they've settled on now. I can't confirm. I believe it was one of 3 of transformations, and that transformation also had kind of like powers and passives that you could combo. So you can find your specific loadout that you want to use, and then you're going to essentially go into battle, you build up whatever kind of resource you need to get your transformation, and when you get your transformation, I think it's like a short-lived kind of huge power-up that's going to allow you to go to war with the enemy team, and you know, kind of like 1v10 in some instances. It's just very strong, you know, like the transformations are just super strong. So that's essentially what it is. It is a large-scale PvP battle arena, but there are objectives for your team to complete that are either PvE or PvP focused along the way. It is not like Brawl Stars, it is not like Halo, but it is inspired from arena shooters, but has taken larger scale inspiration from things like Alterac Valley. That doesn't sound very, it's not very concise, is it? I don't know how to find a concise way to describe it. Basically, lots of you fight against lots of you in a very big map, and there are things that you need to complete as a team on the map, and it basically just sounds like fun. I think it sounds like fun. I was an Alterac Valley fan when I was a World of Warcraft player. The other thing to note is that it is drop in, drop out. So what that means is you can join any game state, and you can join one of the 2 teams, and you drop into a game, you can complete your daily objectives or your daily quests, and then drop out whenever you want. So essentially, you don't need to be there for the whole battle. You can join an existing battle, and help turn the tides of the battle in your favor, play for as long as you like, and if you just aren't, you know, you've completed your objectives, or the game's in a bit of a stalemate, or you don't have time, you can just drop out again and then join another battle later on. The one thing to note is that you'll probably join different battles every time. You probably won't go back and join the same battle. You'll just join an open battle area. And I'm assuming that the overall objective, the overall win condition for these teams could take hours, you know, maybe even days, you know, at a stretch, because I'm assuming it's going to be very long form battles where the drop in, drop out mechanic would not work if the battles were, you know, like 10, 15 minutes long. I'm expecting to be hour or 2 hours where the dropping in and dropping out of players on each team will help turn the tide, and you'll get the objectives and you'll eventually get the win, and that will complete that game server. So I'm assuming it's just going to be very, very strategic, very, very large scale. And what I'm really looking forward to is that, you know, when we have clans and guilds where they are willing to commit, you know, half an hour to an hour to a game, you know, you have a really strategic, focused, team-based battler, and I'm really looking forward to that. I think if Vainglory get guilds and clans right, or Vainglory, SEMC get guilds and clans right in this game, it's going to be the game for it. I can't see any other game having as much social impact as having a good guild or good clan in this game, because it feels like this is the game for it. So that is this kind of the overview of the game itself. Now to address some of the criticisms I've seen. A lot of people don't like the joystick mechanics of the game, but because to make it easily translatable, it's going to be WASD movement on PC, I guess, and it'll be a joystick on control. So analog joystick movement is just the one that makes the most sense. I don't know whether they will implement touch controls, but I think that, you know, when you're playing an arena shooter, we've seen it from things like Brawl Stars, joystick controls work fine, and you know, I personally think they do. So I'm not that bothered about touch versus joystick controls on this, and I don't think I want to get too far into that debate. One of the other criticisms that I've seen is the graphical style. People think the graphics look bad. What I would say is the graphics do not look bad. They are very good. The graphics are actually very good for a mobile title. They are a little bit pared down from Vainglory, but I don't think you could go anywhere higher than Vainglory. Vainglory was the peak of mobile gaming graphical capabilities, but it also had its drawbacks that it was quite hard for some phones to run, and ran some of those phones very hot, and often, you know, I think limited some of the devices that you could play it effectively on. But although I know that SEMC really prided themselves on making Vainglory playable on as many devices as possible, but this is essentially going to reduce the load on processors, I imagine, or because of the fact that it's so big that they needed to reduce the load on processors through number of objects and, you know, and sort of overall graphical capabilities of the game. So that would make more sense as well. What I will say is that I think the graphics actually look really good. I do think they look very detailed. I think they are more cartoony with a different color palette to Vainglory, but that doesn't necessarily make them worse. It's personal taste at the end of the day. Vainglory had very gritty, dark, and realistic graphics. Catalyst Black is cartoony, detailed, and with a brighter color palette. More akin to Fortnite than anything else, but I would say the graphics immediately look better than Fortnite to me. I think they are more detailed and more in-depth than Fortnite. But, you know, you could just have a look at some of the structures that they've created and the transformations, and you will see that, you know, that the game does have a good detailed levels of graphics, especially for a mobile first title. It is just more cartoony and a fresher, more brighter color palette than Vainglory, and that is okay. Like, it is okay to have a brighter color palette. It has been shown that many games have succeeded with this kind of color palette. Look at any Supercell games, look at Fortnite. Those kind of color palettes appeal to people for one reason or another, and for those of us that enjoy gameplay, as long as they get the gameplay right, most of us probably look past the color palette. I never look at a color palette as a defining factor of whether I'm going to play a game or not. For me, it's the gameplay. So I think a lot of Vainglory fans are the same. You know, you look at a game and you judge it on its gameplay rather than its color palette. So I think the graphical criticisms come down to personal taste rather than anything else. And finally, my hopes for this game. So I hope that Vainglory monetize it more aggressively than they did, or I keep saying Vainglory, it's so akin to SEMC. I hope SEMC monetize it more aggressively than they did Vainglory. I would not be upset if there were pay-to-win mechanics in this game. I don't want them to be obnoxious pay-to-win mechanics, you know, like Supercell level pay-to-win mechanics, but if there were ways of finding different guns or minor upgrades that were sort of like min-maxing level pay-to-win, I'm down for that. You know, and I know a lot of people would disagree with me, but at the end of the day, I I don't think one person is going to make the difference in this game. I think it's going to be a team-based battler. So, you know, even if you spend a crap ton of money on the game to keep yourself out, you're probably never going to be able to 1v10 or 1v20. So you're never going to have the amount of impact that you would have in a 1v1 scenario if you're in a pay-to-win situation. So, you know, I think whilst you can definitely pay to get better gear, I don't think it's ever going to win you more games than just pure team play, joining guilds or joining clans. You know, obviously if you get a clan of like insanely kitted people, it's going to be harder, but you know, I think Vainglory and I think SEMC need to have more aligned monetization methods with the rest of the mobile market. I think that to be successful as a mobile title, unless you're generating a huge player base like Mobile Legends, you need to have some kind of other monetization strategy that isn't just cosmetic, because cosmetics not everybody cares about. You know, some people will just play the base game because it's there for free. So yeah, that's my personal opinion. Now, I know that most people will disagree with that, but I want to see an SEMC title succeed because they make really good mobile games. They made Vainglory, and I've played a bit of Catalyst Black, and it's really, like, even as a pre-alpha level, it's really fun. So I want it to succeed, and if that means having some minor pay-to-win mechanics in the game, I'm down for that, because I want this game to be successful so that I can enjoy it for a very long time. I hope that there are clans and guilds, and I hope there are clan and guild wars, and I hope there is some kind of overarching I want there to be like an overarching Eve-like political geosphere where winning certain battles gives you kind of an influence as a clan or an alliance. You know, that would be really cool to me. I don't know if it will happen, but that would be really cool. I hope that the cross-platform is smooth. I hope that the arena ends up being as big as I think it is, and I really hope there is a whole wealth of customization options. I want there to be like 50 plus guns, you know. I want there to be like crazy amounts of passives and powers and spells. You know, I want transformations to be added gradually. I want to have more than just 3, you know, eventually in the game. So there's a lot of hopes that I have for this game. But most of all, I want there to be good opportunities for content creation, because you're damn well sure I'm going to be making some content on this game when it eventually comes out. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that's my thoughts. I wanted to keep it brief. I hope you guys are having a lovely day. I will be posting a TFT video today, so I will have that coming later on. And yeah, have a great day.